Hello, today we're talking about area of a trapezoid. I know we aren't doing an investigative unit to open this one up, so we're going to just jump right in, even though it says here, remember from yesterday. I know we didn't talk about this yesterday, so let's get going. What you need to know, what I need you to write down, is this is the formula for finding the area of a trapezoid. Remember, a trapezoid just has one pair of parallel sides. Typically, we see them like this. And so what this part means is that the area is equal to taking 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So what we mean by that is this would be base 1 and the opposite side is going to be base 2. So we need this part, base 1, plus this part, base 2, and then we take it times 1/2 and times the height. The height is just like it was in a parallelogram or a triangle. It's the distance between the two that's perpendicular, so it meets at a 90-degree angle with the base. That's what we're looking at for the height. So let's go ahead and practice finding these different areas. What you'll notice is, again, we have base 1 and base 2. That's just the top and the bottom. That's the parallel lines. So the two parallel lines would be the bases, and you can see that right here. And then these other two ones that slant, those are considered the legs. And then what we'll have is this imaginary line, or this interior line that comes at a 90-degree angle, and that's always going to be considered the height. So those are our parts of a trapezoid. So I would like you to have this in your notes as well to designate what the different parts are. So, all right, let's go ahead and figure out what we have going on here. What would be our base 1 and our base 2, our two bases? Remember, those are always the parallel lines. So in this case, this is going to be our base 1, and this is going to be our base 2. Now, it doesn't really matter if you called this one base 1 and you called this one base 2. That's all right. No problem. What are these ones here on the side? Those are going to be considered legs. Just like you, they have two legs. And then this dotted line that's not actually a part of the figure is going to be considered our height. So how about here? What happens here? We don't have it. It doesn't look like that. This looks different. But again, it's still a trapezoid. We have two lines that are parallel. They don't have the markings on them, actually. It's not very good. And one is a perfect corner, like a rectangle. It's perpendicular. And the other one is all slanty. It doesn't matter. Our two parallel lines, the ones that are parallel, are considered our bases. So this time we'll make this our base 1 and this one our base 2. Both of these together actually would be our base. So, let's back up. Let's list it over here. Our base 1 is equal to 6 meters. Our base 2 is actually, this one is 6 and this one is 6, they're saying. So all together, it's going to be 12 meters. Our leg 1, we'll say this is our leg 1, is 10 meters. This can be our leg 2. And that's 8 meters, which just leaves our height to be this. Either one of them, notice they're the exact same. They both come and meet at a 90-degree angle, so that would be 8 meters. So if we were doing perpendicular, if we were doing perimeter, we would add 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 10. And if we were doing area, we need to add these two bases times the height times 1/2. So I want you to go ahead and label these down here as base 1, base 2, leg, and height, and we'll keep moving on. So now when we want to find that area, I've talked to several of you about starting to write your formula at the top of every page or for every problem. It's really going to help you out as you get into pre-algebra and algebra, you're going to get more and more formulas, and it just helps to keep things clear in your head. Don't try and do it all in your head. It takes an extra 3 seconds maybe to write it out, but start doing it. So we have area equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. We need to remember to do order of operations first, so we need to add those things first. So in this case, our area is still what we're looking for, so that's still what we're solving for. Our 1/2 we haven't used yet. We're plugging in 18, that's our height. And then inside our parentheses, we're adding our base plus our base, 15 plus 27. So now order of operations, we add these up together first. So now we have 1/2 times 18 times 42. And now we can multiply from left to right. So 1/2 times 18 is 9 times 42. 9 times 42 is 378. It's area, so we've got to have inches squared. Good job. Let's try another one. All right, let's go ahead. Where's our bases? We've got base 1, base 2. That's all we need to get so far. Let's label or make our formula here. Area equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Now keep in mind, on the first slide, I guess it said 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. On the last slide, it wrote it this way. Remember, the order of multiplication doesn't matter. What matters is this parentheses. You have to make sure that you add these together first before you go ahead and start multiplying. So let's fill in what we know. We know area is still what we're looking for. Our 1/2 hasn't changed. But now we know what our height is. What's our height in this situation? 8 is what we should be looking at. So 1/2 times 8 times, what's my base 1 plus my base 2? I'm going to have 12 plus 18 for my base 1 and base 2. Now order of operations, remember that's PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses has to be the first thing that we do. So we've got area equals 1/2 times 8. I haven't done anything yet, but now I'm going to add these together. What do you get when you add 12 plus 18? I hope you answered 30. So now let's do our multiplication left to right. What's 1/2 times 8? 1/2 of 8 is 4. So we have 4 times 30. And then when I take 4 times 30, I get 120. What's my unit? Meters squared. So the area of this trapezoid is 120 meters squared. All right, let's do this one as well. Again, we got to start with our formula. So we have area is equal to 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. So let's fill in what we have. Our area is what we're looking for. Our 1/2 hasn't changed, so I'm just going to rewrite those. What is my height on this one? Well, on this one, it's kind of rotated sideways. The parallel lines are the ones that are my base, so I have to use these two, which means this is my height right here. So 9 feet is what I'm going to put in here for my height, and my base happens to be this one plus this one. So I'm going to do 6 plus 18. So now, order of operations, let's rewrite it. And I do want to see you rewriting it like this. I do not want to see just an answer. So take the time and write it out just like this. So 1/2 times 9 times, what do you get when you have 6 plus 18? 24 is our answer. So now we have area equals, so now I've got all multiplication. I can go left to right here. 1/2 times 9 gives me 4.5 times 24. So what do I get when I take 4.5 times 24? You can either do the math out or use your calculator, but when you do it, you should have gotten 108, and then we add our feet squared. All right, let's keep moving on. I want you to try and find the area of these two on your own. Remember, we have to start with our formula, so I'll help you out with that way up here. I want you to put area is equal to 1/2 times the height times B1 plus B2. So go ahead, find your height and your two bases for both of these and figure out the answer. We'll check it tomorrow in class. All right, let's look at this. Mark the picture with the following information. A trapezoid has bases 3 4/5 and 2 1/2, and then a height of 1/10, 1 1/10. Find its area. So again, here's where we're going to have our 2 1/2, because that's smaller than this. 3 4/5 will go down here. And then our height has to be this blue line, so 1 1/10. So now when we find its area, we have area is equal to 1/2 times the height times B1 plus B2. So when we fill this in, I know these have some fractions and can get quite ugly. That's why we spent so much time on fractions, but you are also able to use your calculator now, so I don't feel too sorry for you. 1/2 times, what's our height? We have 1 1/10 that we fill in here. And then base 1, so that would be 2 1/2 plus 3 4/5. So if you don't have a calculator, remember before you add, you have to get common denominators. So you would want to change them to both being something over 10. Otherwise, if you have your calculator, use your fraction button or your ABC key and add 2 1/2 plus 3 4/5. And when you do that, you should have gotten 6 3/10. So we've got A is equal to 1/2 times 1 1/10 times, what did I say? 6 3/10. 6 3/10. Now I'm going to plug this into my calculator and do 1/2 times 1 1/10 times 6 3/10. And when I finish, ooh, that's an ugly one. 3 93/200 is what I got. 3 93/200. Wow, that's an ugly one. But that's all right. That's how it goes. Units squared. All right, we're only going to do one more screen. We need to get a little practice working things backwards. You guys have struggled with this in the past. We're going to keep working on it because it's not going to go away. So again, here we have, they've already given us the area. We need to plug it into our formula that we're comfortable with and figure out what that missing height is. So let's start with our area formula. It's 1/2 times the height times the base 1 plus base 2. So let's fill in what we know. We know the area already is 66. And in order to find that, we would take half of whatever the height is times, the bases are 8 and 14. So 8 plus 14 gives us 22. So 1/2 times the height times 22 is equal to 66. So we need to work backwards. Let's do this. 1/2 times 22. We can rearrange these. Remember, order doesn't matter in multiplication. So let's leave our 66 here is equal to, what do we get when we take 1/2 times 22? 11 is what you should have had, times h. So 11 times h. Half of 22 is 11. 11 times h equals 66. So what number times 11 equals 66? Remember your fact families. You can work it backwards and say 66 divided by 11 equals h. And when we do that, we find that h equals 6. So the height of this trapezoid is 6. So let's go ahead and try these two on your own for tomorrow. we're going to make sure that we look at these in class, and please make sure you ask questions so that you are able to do this. With that, I hope you have a great night. Please come to class with any questions that you have on this, and I'll see you tomorrow.